The intent of this guide is for modelers from another 3D platform, like Maya 3D Max, to get up to speed in modeling in Blender. Having said that, this will still be useful for beginner modelers to get familiar with the tools and important stuff. Timestamp can be found in the description. We will start with some useful shortcuts. Over time you will pick up more shortcuts. This is just a start. The first shortcut is Shift+A. This will bring up the Add menu. You can add a mesh, which we will do now. The mesh will be centered at the location of the 3D cursor. Next is the number pad point. This centered the selection and fit to the viewport. Next is Shift+D. This duplicates the selection. Next is Shift+C. This reset the 3D cursor to the origin. The next shortcut allows us to switch between the working modes, namely, Edit and Object mode. Press Tab to bring up the mode wheel. Then select between Edit or Object mode from the wheel. Other modes are also available for selection. Additionally, you can press Tab+6 for Edit mode, Tab+4 for Object mode. While in Edit mode, press 1 to go Vertex mode, press 2 to go Edge mode, and press 3 to go Face mode. To toggle between quad and single view, press Ctrl, Alt, and Q. You can switch between different preset viewports using the number pad 0 to 9. To go to the Selection tool, press W. While you are on the Selection tool, press W will toggle the different selection modes. Pressing F3 bring up the search menu. This is context sensitive. Here is an example. I typed bevel while in edit mode, and we have a few search results. Go to object mode. Now we type bevel again. Notice this time no result was returned. This is because you cannot bevel when in object mode. There are more useful shortcuts, a few we will cover later in the videos. These are only some useful ones that will get you started in Blender as a modeler, and more. We will start by activating two useful add-ons that we will use later in this guide. Using the search text loop should yield the correct add-on. I will cover loop tool later, in the modeling chapter. Checked the add-on. Now repeat. This time using plane as search term. Checked the add-on, import image as planes. Make sure the add-ons are activated. Now we can set up an image plane to be used as reference. Press Shift+A to bring up the Add menu. Go to Image, and pick Images as planes. Make sure you have viewport shading on, to see the image. You can perform transformation as per normal plane mesh. While we are at this, it is a good time to show you how to freeze transformations. While in object mode, press Ctrl+A to bring up transform wheel. Select Apply All to freeze rotation, scale, and locations. You can also freeze only scale, only rotation, or only locations individually. Next we shall look at how to lock an object to be not selectable. Click on the down arrow beside the filter icon. Then click on the pointer that says selectable. It should turn blue. Now the selectable icons is on every objects that can be self-settable. Click on the image plane selectable icon to make it unselectable. We can test it on the viewport. Looking good now. To show the normal orientation, first, make sure we are in object mode. Click on the down arrow beside overlay. Then check face orientation. Blue is front side, red is rear side. Pick the faces you want to flip, make sure you are in modeling mode. Go to Mesh, Normals, Flip. You can also use shortcut Odd+N, and select Flip. In Chapter 3, I will show a few ways to move the origin, which is the pivot, for our Maya users. Say you want to move your origin to a corner vertex, which is common for modular objects in games. This is how it can be done. Click Ctrl+Odd+X to bring up the origin wheel. Then pick origin to selected. As we can see now, the origin has now moved to the location of the vertex. To set the origin to object center. While in object mode, bring up the wheel again. Then select center of mass. Finally, what if you want to move the origin to some specific location? First, move the 3D cursor to the location of the origin you want. Again, pull out the origin wheel, then select origin to cursor. We can reset the cursor if needed. Chapter 4 is about selection. This will be the last, boring session, before the cool modeling stuff. Think of this chapter and Paya as learning the hands and leg movements on land before going into the water in swimming class. So let's get started. Left mouse click to select. Shift plus left mouse click to add selection. Shift plus left mouse click on an existing selection to unselect. Left mouse click in a blank space to clear selection. Odd plus left mouse click for loop selection. Hold down Shift plus odd plus left mouse click to additional loops to selection. Let's go to face mode. Let's zoom in. There may be two loops linked to a face. Here a vertical loop, and a horizontal one. If you want to select the horizontal loop, odd-click near the edge corresponds to the loop direction. Likewise, to pick the vertical loop, odd-click near the edge that corresponds to the loop direction. Click Ctrl plus number pad plus to grow selection. Click Ctrl plus number pad minus to shrink selection. To make a selection chain, Ctrl plus left mouse click, it will select all vertices, edges, or faces, in the chain from the highlighted, vertex, edge, or face. You can use Shift plus left mouse click, to remove any unwanted face, as we have covered before. To select connected, use Ctrl plus L. There are 4 selections mode. First is tweak, which we have covered. The second is rect select, which work as you would expect. The third selection mode is the select circle, which acts like a selection brush. You can also adjust the radius of the circle. The final one is select lasso, in which you drag a selection, similar to Maya and other software. Regardless of which selection mode, you can do a lasso select by Ctrl plus right mouse drag. One thing you may notice is that Blender do not pick the back faces by default. An easy way to enable picking back faces is to enable X-ray mode. The shortcut to toggle X-ray mode is Shift plus Z. Now you can pick the back faces. You can return to normal mode, and now only front faces will be selectable again. Finally, we are getting to the cool modeling stuff. Let's start with a simple and common modeling task, duplicating faces. As with duplicate object, the shortcut is Shift plus D. In edit mode, the duplicated faces will remain part of the original object. To separate the new faces, make sure you are in edit mode. Right-click to open menu, go to Separate, then Selection. The shortcut is click P, then, Selection from the pop-up. To join objects, Shift-select all objects to join, then right-click to bring up the menu, then select Join. You can also do so by using the shortcut Ctrl plus J. To make a loop cut, pick Loop Cut from the Tool column, and click where you want to add the loop cut. Notice that the cut by default always cut at the middle of the faces. To move the loop, click and hold the left mouse button to drag the loop to the desired location. To add edges between vertices, click on the adjacent vertices, then click J. If the edges cross, as you create them, vertices will be automatically be created. Alternatively, W if the adjacent vertices picked, right-click to open menu, then select Connect Vertex Path. Next, I will show you how to add a vertex on an edge. To subdivide an edge, with the edge selected, right-click to open menu, the pick, subdivide. To move a vertex along the edge, click Shift plus V, and move to location, then left mouse click. Pick the faces/edges to extrude, then select Extrude Region from the toolbar, to well, extrude. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. You can also use the shortcut E on selected face or edge to extrude. To extrude individual faces, pick the faces to extrude. Select Extrude Individual from the Extrude tool. To extrude internal, pick the faces to extrude. Select Insert Faces from the toolbar. Then extrude. Remember the add-on, Loop Tools that I activate earlier? We need it in the next step. To bridge two edges, pick the edges to bridge, then right-click to open menu, go to Loop Tools, pick Bridge. You can set the amount of edges and other good stuff in the pop-up menu. To merge two edges, pick the two adjacent vertices. Click M, and pick from one of the choices, say, at the center, or first, and so on. Play around with the options. Alternatively, again with adjacent vertices selected, right-click to open the menu. Then pick, Merge Vertices. You can also merge vertices if they are close enough using Auto Merge Vertices icon. Activate the icon, then on the Option pull-down menu, you can set the merge distance under the threshold. Play around the value until you find the sweet spot. Let's give it a go. Boom. It snapped. The next thing I want to show is how you fill holes. Let's delete a few faces to make a hole. To fill a hole, click on an edge where the hole lies, then click F to fill the hole. One last tip before the final chapter I want to show. To make a circle, pick the edge loop in which you want to form a circle. To make a circle from an edge loop, select an edge loop. Then right-click to bring up the menu, go to Loop Tools, then Circle. Boom. In the final chapter of this guide, we will touch on basic of setting up Retopology and working on it with aid of the Polybuild tool. For comprehensive guide on Retopology, you can go to the GenVFX video on YouTube. On the screen is a little kitten I sculpted a while ago. We will use it as the reference space for Retopology. We do not want to accidentally click the kitten, so let's first lock the kitten to be unselectable. With that done, we will set the snapping to face projection. Make sure closest is selected. Next is to create the base mesh for Retopology. We will start with a simple plane. Then use scale, rotation, and move to get it into position as a start point. Let's also uncheck snapping first. Notice that the plane is partially inside the cat and obstructed. Go to Viewport Display, and check in front. Now the new mesh will always visually be in front, making Retopology work much easier. Click on the small down arrow at top right of Viewport, make sure Object is picked. Then return to Viewport Display, and pick your color of choice. Apply the snapping again. Grab each of the 4 vertices, move a little to make sure they snap to our like a kitten. To move vertex, left-click on vertex and drag. Extrude an edge by left-click on edge and drag. The Auto Vertex mode will be very helpful to use in conjunction to the Polybuild tool. Activate it to make your life easier. To make a triangle, hold down Ctrl, then drag an edge. A triangle face will now be formed. Let's make some extra polygons, then I will show you something. To create a quad face between 2 edges, Control-click near 2 adjacent edges, then drag the vertex that we just created. Hold Shift then click on a face to delete it. You can contune this until the whole process is done. Remember, you can combine this with other editing tools. This is all for the modeling quick guide. If you like it, and find this helpful, be sure to hit the like button. Please subscribe if you have not. Let me know in the comments if you like me to do more advanced modeling guides using Bldner.